Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. Guys, I just heard about a story that I have never heard before. And honestly, right now, I don't have the time to do a really deep dive study of it. But I'm just going to give you a cursory telling about the dancing plague of 1518. Have you guys ever heard of this? I was like, wait, what? What's that mean? So I just thought I'll just give you a little overview from what I heard about it. And then if you're interested, you can take a much deeper look at it. So, look, my mom had this cool map of the world. I thought, well, that's useful. I'll take that from her. So we are in the area that is now the, let's see, it's hard to read. It's hard to see this. The area at the time in 1518, it was all just known as the Roman Empire. So this predates these countries, but it's right on this border between France and Germany. That is the location. Mind you, I haven't done a deep dive on this, really. I've done some basic reading of a Wikipedia page. So forgive me if any of the facts are wrong. It's just something I thought was interesting you might like. But it's in what is the town of Strasbourg. Now, like I said, that during 1518 was part of the Roman Empire. I'm going to pull out the big atlas so we can just get a little better look at where we are on the map. And I have marked a page to make this a little easier on us. Just flip through a little bit to the right page. What was I marking here? That must have been, okay, that was for a different video. So just scooch ahead here. It's United States, Canada, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Texas. Don't mess with Texas. I can't go here. All my X's are there. Mexico, Brazil. Nope, none of these places. Here is where we're trying to get. Okay, so here we have Germany and France, Deutschland, and Francois. Is that right? I don't know. That might not be right. Sorry. Apologies if that was wrong. Okay. And here is Strasbourg. Now, this town, a woman who is known by the name of Frau Trophia, I believe. I heard a few different versions. She was either walking with her husband or she was with her daughter, but whatever. She's out walking around, and I don't think we know her first name. She's just listed in the historical record as Frau, which is like Mrs. So maybe she got in a little disagreement with her husband, or we don't really know. But for some reason, Frau, and this is, I think it was July 14th of 1518, she starts to dance. She starts just moving and grooving and dancing. So it's kind of interesting. So she starts to dance, and apparently she danced for at least a full week straight, nonstop, no food, no nothing, just dancing. And from some accounts I saw, her daughter starts dancing with her. I don't know how old her daughter is, but her daughter. So the two of them are on the streets of Strasbourg dancing uncontrollably. And she danced, like I said, for days without stopping. But within a week, some like little curious bystanders, what I just said, they're all watching her dance. And they start going, I think I gotta dance. So next thing you know, and there's no music, by the way, you start to have dozens of other people who are also dancing. And as far as I know, they're men, they're women, they're all different people who just start to dance. And now you've got dozens of people dancing. And it wasn't like a joyful dance or a celebratory. It was just moving their bodies. And I guess they called it dancing, but maybe it was jerky. Maybe it was, I'm not clear on that. But nobody said it was like a fun dance. It was just like moving. It seemed almost like involuntary, like they couldn't stop if they wanted to. Like I think some loved ones tried to stop them, but they were just almost, I don't want to say seizure, but like just couldn't stop their bodies from moving. And people would report their family members dancing for days or weeks, and people would collapse from exhaustion. Like, I don't even understand. What did they do about going to the bathroom and stuff? I don't know. And there's reports that some people, after dancing for too long, died. They died, or they would like bleed from their feet because of the constant movement. Wild. So the cause of death, I don't know if this is now or what, but exhaustion. They said they like died from maybe strokes or heart attacks, but how do they know that? Like, were they even diagnosing that? I don't know. There are things they write them like, how do you know that? So that's what I mean by I didn't take a deep dive. I just did a cursory. And some doctors said, don't worry, eventually they'll just dance it out. Whatever is causing it, because I'm sure people thought, well, they must be possessed or something. I don't know. But anyway, this went from July all the way until September. And some reports say there were up to 400 people dancing all at the same time, or at least during this time period. Crazy. And because some doctors said they need to just dance it out and get rid of it, the Strasbourg Town Guild hired some musicians to come play music to kind of help with the dancing. And I imagine once you get to this point, if I'm like a local person and I'm bored, I might show up and go, I'm going to dance for a while. But I don't know. So some stories said there were like over 400 people all just dancing. But like I said, because of the musician, that may have kind of made it worse, because then it became known that the town has musicians and this dancing going on. So eventually the authorities said, okay, forget, we're not going to allow any music. We're banning all music in public. So then they started taking some of the dancers and kind of corralling them. This is all wild. And they drove them to a like shrine of Saint Vitus, and that they associate, I don't know how this, I don't understand. Saint Vitus with protection against dancing mania. So I guess dancing mania was a thing already. I'm confused. I don't know. But after some time, and banning music and adding prayer and stuff, the dancing just sort of slowly faded away. It just ended. And there are accounts that many people died. There are accounts that there were 50 people. There are accounts that there were 400 people. I mean, we have to remember this is from 1518. But I heard 50 to 400 people, and that there were many deaths. But I don't think there's like a good record of the deaths. So crazy. And I don't think this is like the only place this happened. There were maybe other places. So I was like, well, what was going on here? So there is some theories that it was what would be known now as a psychogenic illness or psychogenic movements. And basically that can come from just stress. And there was a lot of stress, of course. There would have been starvation. There would have been disease. A lot of times when people had babies back then, hardly any of, maybe some lived, some didn't. It was a stressful time to be alive, I imagine. So they said that sometimes when something like this is going on, that stress of like, why is this happening? It's so weird, and they'd look strange doing it, that could spread and cause others to have the same sort of psychogenic illness. So that's a theory. They said too, at this time, this area may have been dealing with actual famine, which can make disease issues even worse. So it was like a very stressful time. There's another theory that they had what was called ergot poisoning. And ergot is a mold that grows on like rye bread. So it's possible that like there was, because of the famine, they were making this rye bread and saving it, and that everybody basically was poisoned with this ergot, which, from what I understand, there's a condition called ergotism I don't know how you say it, but basically it's like a psychological condition that comes from the ergot poisoning that is LSD. It's like LSD. It's like taking LSD. So it's basically like you're super, high on LSD. But the issue with this, that some scientists are like, that doesn't sound right, because even though this could cause hallucination and physical symptoms, they kind of don't feel like this would be it, because they wouldn't all act the same. And apparently their dancing, their movements were similar. So that's a theory that they're not sure. But one thing, when I looked up ergot poisoning, there is also claims that maybe that's what happened in Salem that led people thinking certain people were like witches because they were moving weird, that maybe it was actually ergot, or I guess that's how you say it, ergot poisoning. I don't know. I'll have to dig deeper on that someday, because that was kind of interesting. But today I think most experts really are leaning towards this psychological illness, and that was just like mass psychosis. It seems like that's where they're aiming. I feel like there were other things they said maybe, but none of them stuck in my head, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of this? It's so wild. I'm sure you have. You know how sometimes you hear something, you're like, what? I've never heard of that. But then everybody else is like, yeah, we all know that. I don't know. But anyway, they call it the dancing plague of 1518. And it's interesting how things like this, sometimes they just fade away. It's not really similar, but it kind of reminds me. When I was a kid, there was a church near us. It was across the street from the Baskin Robbins and right up from the high school I went to. And I only know it was from the back because we used to have lunch at Baskin Robbins, which meant we ate an ice cream cone for lunch. But we would look out, and it was sort of as I recall, a kind of modern design church. So it had this cross up here that was set. I can't draw this, but it kind of stuck out from the church building. You know what I'm saying? And so when light would hit it, it would cast shadow. Now, at some point, somebody said they saw the Virgin Mary, I think it was Virgin Mary, or Jesus, but I think it was Virgin Mary, in the shadow. And after that, people came from all over the world to see this. And they would stand around the church and then line up to go inside of the church. And I don't mean a few. I mean there would be lines of people. And we would stand there at lunch eating our ice cream cones looking at them going, that's interesting. But for many, many months, there were hundreds of people trying to see the Virgin Mary show up again. And it must have just been the way the light hit it, or somebody made it up. I don't know. But eventually they just stopped coming. That's not really similar to this, but it just made me think of it. This whole, like, when people all do something at once and then it just stops. I don't know. It's probably not really cool. That wasn't a great example. Well, let me know in the comments if you are familiar with this or if you have any other interesting information. Maybe I should really do a deep dive on this mold poisoning, because I bet you, because they said this mold is actually, I think, what they used to make the original LSD, like back in the, I don't know, 60s or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a whole deep dive. But yeah, let me know if you're familiar with this. It's like a crazy story. Alright guys, I will talk to you soon. Australia. I did a video once on Australia. Well, actually, I guess that was, it was for somebody's birthday.